Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Guys, in this session, I'll be going to show you how to create the Spring Boot application, and apart from that, I'll be going to show you like how to develop the REST APIs by using the Spring Boot application. So let's start here. So first point, like how to create the Spring Boot application. Guys, to create the Spring Boot application, we have different ways. Like we can use Spring Initializer to create the Spring Boot application. So Spring Initializer is one of the popular website, we can say. Like it is a official site of Spring people, so where we can create the Spring Boot application. Okay, apart from that, we can use the Spring CLI to create the Spring Boot application. So these are the way we can use to create the Spring Boot application. So in this session, I'll be going to show you like how to create the Spring Boot application by using the official site of a Spring people, that is Spring Initializer. Okay, so I'll be going to show you in the IntelliJ like how to create this Spring Boot project here. Click on a file here, click on a new, and click on a project. If you can see the left side menus here, so select this Spring Initializer. As I said, Spring Initializer is a official site of a Spring people, so where we can create the Spring application. So this is start.spring.io. so this is the URL for this official site. Apart from that, to create the Spring Boot project, so we need to fill few details about the project. So about your requirement, like what kind of project you want to create here. So give the project name, then location where you want to store the project files and all things. Apart from that, you need to select the language here, then build URL, like build type will be there. So these are the Maven, Groovy, so you can select Maven here because I'm familiar with Maven. Apart from that, you need to select the, or you need to type the group ID. Group ID is nothing but your package name, root package name. Apart from that, artifact, so artifact is nothing but your project name here. Then package name, so under which package you want to add your classes, your controllers. Then apart from that, like repositories and all things. And yeah, these are the basic details: JDK version, packaging and all things. Okay, once you fill this all details, so click on a next. And once you click here, so here you need to select the dependency, Spring Boot version. So you can select any one of that, like you can select this 3.3 and all things, so whichever you want. Like I'm familiar with this 3.2.5. Okay, apart from that, you need some dependencies to create your Spring Boot app. So first dependency you require, that is your web dependency here. So this will provide the RESTful API development environment, so you can develop the REST APIs by using this Spring Web. So if you can see here, building the RESTful web services, then service content, like serving web content with the MVC, then building the REST service with Spring. Okay, apart from that, it will provide the different containers here, like Apache, Tomcat. Then this is embedded containers, so there are three embedded containers we have. JT will be there, Tomcat will be there, and there is under Tau will be there. So these are the embedded three containers. This will provided by this Spring Web here. Apart from that, if you want DevTool, if you want Lombok, so these things you can select here. Okay, and once you select these things here, you can see this added dependency section, Lombok and Spring Web here. So once you select these details, click on a finish, so then you will get the new project here. But I'm not going to select on this finish button because I already created the student management project, so by using this Spring Initializer. Okay, so let me go through the Spring project here, the Spring Boot project here. If you can see here, See, this is a main package com.student. Under that, we will get the uh, main class here. So this is a student management application, correct? So how we can identify this is a main class, a class which annotated with the at the rate Spring Boot application. Okay, at the rate Spring Boot applications. So this class is nothing but your main class of your Spring Boot application. Okay, and from this class itself our Spring Boot application getting started. Okay, so if you can see this statement like Spring Boot like Spring application dot run, so this is responsible to start your application. So we are passing the reference of this class, if you can see here. So this is our main class reference we are passing here, not reference, we are just passing the class to the run method here with the argument. Okay, so this is the way. So and if you want to know about this annotation, so this annotation is a collection of 4 or 5 annotations. If you can see here, at the rate target, at the rate retention, documented, inherited, Spring Boot configuration, enable auto configuration, component scan. So these are the basic annotations. So if you want to know, then I'll be going to create one session about this annotation, like which annotation where we need to use. So these all things I'll be going to cover in next sessions. Okay, so let me go through the another files here. So there is one resource folder or package, we can say. Under that we can add the static files, templates, and then if you want to add some configuration inside the application.properties file, you can use. Okay, so basically this is the very important file in the Spring Boot application, because mainly we have to configure the details by using the application.properties file. So if you can see here, so I configure already two things. One is the application name, so Spring application name, that is student management, and apart from that I configure the port number. Okay, on which port we want to run this application. So when we execute this application, so on this port, okay, on this port the server will get up, or this application will get up, sorry. Okay, so this is the way we can configure the detail by using the Spring that application.properties file. Apart from that, if you know, this is a target folder where we will get the all classes, generated sources, or the project jar or file, whatever we decided, like packaging type, or it can be a jar or it can be a war. Apart from that, if you know, these are the Maven, MVNW, and this is the basic files, we know that. And this is a pom.xml file, so where we are configuring the details about your project, like this is the parent project name, so parent project version here. So we selected this 3.2.5, so this is the your Spring Boot version. Apart from that, if you can see there, whatever details we fill there, so these details we will get here, like group ID will be there, artifact ID, version will be there, and name, and then like description and all things. So okay, so these things we can add here. Apart from that, if you want to add some properties like JDK version, then Maven compiler version and all things, so you can add under the properties section. These are the dependencies we added here. This is a web starter where we will get the lot of things here. If you click here, so you can see under this we have another pom.xml file, and under that you will get this all detail, like boot starter will be there, then starter JSON, Tomcat. See, if you can see this one, so this is an embedded Tomcat, so no need to add explicitly servers, because Spring will add the embedded Tomcat server. Okay, apart from that, this is the Spring Web dependency, then Spring Web MVC, which is required to develop the web application. Okay, so under this starter we will get the lot of things. Okay, apart from that, we added this Lombok and we added this taste. Okay, so these are the details we added as a part of this project. Now let's start the application. Okay, so this is the way we can create our Spring Boot application by using the Spring Initializer. Let me start the application here. Okay, it started the building here. You can see. Okay. Application has been started on this port. So as I showed you guys, so the this port I configured inside the application.properties file. If you can see here, server.port, and inside this server.port, so I configured this property under the application.property, and internally that Tomcat took this port number, and on that port application will get started. Okay, so you can see the Tomcat started on the port, so this one. Okay, so you can use this port to execute the things. Now we see like how to create the Spring Boot application. Now let's see like how to create the REST APIs. Okay, so I am going to create one simple student management thing, like how to add the student, how to add the how to get the student, okay, by roll number, or get all student. Apart from that, how to delete the student by roll number. So this functionality I'll be going to develop here. So before going ahead, let's discuss the schema first. Okay, create some entities, create some models. So this is a way to develop the, then after that create the services, and after that create the controller. Okay, so this is the way you have to follow when you develop anything. First design your models, okay, then design your services, and after that design your controller. Now I'm going to create a model first. Okay, which model I required, so I'll be going to create one package that name is model here. Let me add one class here. So which model I required student model. Okay, model is nothing but your Pojo class. Okay, Pojo means plain old Java object I need here. So this is a student class. Annotate that class with @data. So then we will get the setters and getters. Okay, then annotate that class with the all our constructor. Okay, we require that. So I'll be going to define three fields here, simply like a private string roll number. Okay, private string name of the student, and private string address of a student. Okay, so these three details I'll be going to like mention here. So if you can see here, roll number, name, and address here. So these three functions or three fields we are going to add inside the student entity. Okay, now we created the model design here, so that model design is ready. Now create the service here. Okay, create the service. So let me create the service package, and under that service package we can add the service here. Okay, I have created one service package, and under that service package let me add the student service. Okay, okay, so this is the, then how, like how we can say this is a service class, how we can provide the instruction to the Spring Boot Spring Boot or Spring to, like, this is the service class, how Spring will identify this is a service class. So there is one annotation we need to use, that is @service here. Okay, then and then only that Spring will identify this is a service class, and under this class we added some business logic. Okay, then and then only that Spring will get decided. Okay, so now I'm not going to connect this project with the database. So for now I'll be going to create the one basic list. So on that list I'll be going to perform the add, update, delete operation. Okay, Now let me create one private static student list, sorry, list of student. Okay, so this is the list, student list I am going to create. So where I am going to define this list? So inside the static block. So because this will get initialized when this class will get loaded into the IOC container. So inside it, let me create the few object like okay, first assign the object to the student list. Okay, inside this student list let me add the new student. Okay, first one is the roll number. Okay, second one is the name we need to add. Okay, and then third one is the address, add post. Let's give the ABC. Okay, so this is the we added the first record here. Let me replicate the same thing thrice. Okay, this is the second student, third student. Let me give the name here, Sai Akhil. Okay, and here is the Vamsi Meda. Okay, so this is the details about the student. Let's give the address XYZ PQR. So these are the address we added here. So this is the student details we added inside the student list. Now what kind of operation we want to create or we want to persist on this list? So first I want to add the student, or I want to get all student. Okay, so let's write one service to get all student. Okay, public return the list of student to the controller. Okay, get student list, and let's return the student list here. So we get operation is completed. Now let's write one service to delete the, okay, to delete the that particular student, okay, based on the roll number. Public, then give the boolean tag or boolean value to return to the controller whether that student is deleted or not. Delete student. Okay, and accept the roll number as a parameter. Roll number. Okay, so this is our input from the end user or client. So client will send the roll number and we are going to delete that student. Okay, so that roll number student. Okay, now how we can delete it? So simply we can do that, like you can use the stream, then filter. Okay, and simply call the filter here student dot get roll number not equal to roll number. Okay, so this should not equal to roll number, then collect into the list and assign that latest list to the student list. Okay, that's all, and let's return the true. Okay, because we successfully deleted that student here, if you can see here. Now okay, so let's replace this the with that object dot equal, and this objects class is another one, so which is came as a part of JDK 1.7. so we can use this class to check null, then we can use this class for the various aspects. So okay, so this is the delete operation we added, or delete service we created here. Now so these two services we added here. Now create the endpoint to accept or to access these services. How to create the endpoint? So to create the endpoint, REST endpoint, we require the controller here. Okay, let me create the controller package first. Okay, controller. So this is the controller package I created. Apart from that, let me create the controller class like student rest controller. Okay. Now, how Spring will know that is the REST controller? So we need to annotate that class. We need to annotate that class with the REST controller annotation. At the rate REST controller annotation. Okay, at the rate REST controller. Okay, so this is the annotation. Then and then only Spring will understand this is the request, like, so this is the request acceptor, so from where request will get redirected to the service. Okay, this is the one of the class. Now, what kind of services we added here? We added the get all student details and delete student details. These two services we added. How to consume these services inside the controller? So we need to create the endpoint to consume it. Now we need the object of this student service inside the REST controller. Okay, then acquire that object. Okay, told that Spring to add a wire, give that object, give that student service object inside the controller. Okay, in the controller. Now I'll be going to use the auto wire function. So this is the another instructions to the Spring to inject the dependency of the student service inside the controller. Okay, let me write the student service here. Okay, now Spring will inject the object to this student reference. Now let's create the get REST API. So there are different HTTP methods. We know that get will be there, put will be there, post will be there. Okay, and like delete will be there. So these are the HTTP requests, as you know, guys. Okay, now let me create the get endpoint here. How to create the get REST API? So let's see. So by using the get mapping annotation, you can create the get endpoint. So this is the annotation only used to create. So when you use this get mapping here, so if you want to get some resources from the backend, okay, from the database, in that case you need to use the get API or get mapping method. Okay, let me add the get all student. So this is the endpoint. Let me return the list of student to the end user. Okay, so we are returning this list of student to the end user. So end user nothing but your client. Okay, get all student. Great. Now let me call that service here student service dot get student list. Okay, we will get the student list and simply return that student list to the client. Client will consume this endpoint. Client will consume this endpoint by using the slash get student. Okay, slash get all student. Then client will get that. Okay, client will get that student list. Sorry, let me do that like this. Okay, because we will get the more clarity. Now let's create the one more endpoint to delete the, because we added the two services. First service is to delete, first service is to get the student list, second service is used to delete the student. Okay, let me consume the second service here, delete student. Okay, give the method name as a delete student. That's all. Now what we need to return back, so let's return on string statement saying that student is deleted successfully something. Okay, now let's call the get or delete student and assign that. Now we need to pass the roll number. So from the client side we require the, okay, from the client side we require the like that. roll number of the student, which roll number, which student you want to delete. So that roll number of that student we required here. How to accept the roll number? So we need to pass this roll number as a part of the query param, sorry, request param. So by using the request param annotation, we can retrieve the data, or we can retrieve the student roll number from the query parameter. Okay, this is the annotation only you can use. Roll number, and pass this roll number to the service will delete that. Okay, service will delete that student and return the flag. Okay, so that flag is delete. Okay, now let's add one condition. If is delete is true, then return delete successfully. Okay, and otherwise return not able to delete, or delete failed. Delete failed. Okay, so this is the response we need to, or this is the way we need to send the response to the client. Okay, if client sends some wrong roll number, then that delete service will return the false. In that case, it will return the delete failed. If client service return the, or client will return the, or sorry, client sends the proper roll number, then delete service will return the delete that particular roll number student, and yeah, it will send the delete successfully. Now let's add one more service to add the student. Okay, add the new student. And how to add it? Let me create one more service, public. Let's keep the boolean as a return type of this service. Okay, we will just return the whether that student is getting added or not. Student. Okay, as a parameter we required a student object, and simply we can say like student dot add, and just give the student reference here. Okay, and return this add object. Okay, okay, so that's all. Or else you can directly do the inline things. So add method will return the boolean. If it is added, then it will return the true false. Okay, now consume this service inside the controller here. Create one more endpoint. Now here, so what we are doing here, we are getting the details from the server. Okay, or from the database. That's why we use the get. Now what we are doing here, deleting the student. So whether in that case get will work? No, we need to use the delete. See, get will work, but as per the meaning of this API, so it will getting mismatch, or we will get confused. Okay, so that's why they provided the basic meaning level syntax, or basic meaning level methods. Like to delete the API, we need to use the delete mapping. To get API, we need to use the get mapping. That's all. Now let's create one put mapping. So basically, sorry, post mapping. So post mapping is used to post the resource to the backend. Okay, post the resource to the backend by using the post mapping. So this is the HTTP method. Post is a HTTP method which is used to create the resource at backend. Okay, this will add student. Now let me add the method, and let's return some string here. So whether if student is added, we will send the student getting added successfully or something. Student. And now in this case we require, so to get the single variable, what we use, we pass that variable as a part of the request param. Now we need a complete object of the student. Then from where we need to pass it here? So we need to pass this object from the request body. So then to get that object from the request body, so we need to use a @ request body annotation here. So this is the annotation we required to use and map that data from the request body to the student. Okay, so we got the student object. Now call the service here, student service. So student service dot add student, pass the student from the request body and get the is added flag. If it is added, then this service will return the true. Okay, is added. Okay, fine, return. If it is not added, like we need to fail to add student. So this message we are going to return to client. And here if it is added successfully, then we can say added successfully. Okay, that's all. So this is the way we need to create the REST endpoint. Now if you can see here, we created the service. We added the inside the service we added the three operations or three services to get the all student, to delete the student, after that to add the student. So these three details we added, and for these three services we created, to consume those services we created the endpoint. So first endpoint, to get service we created the get mapping endpoint. Then to delete service we created the delete mapping endpoint, and to add service, okay, to consume the add service we created the post mapping. So post mapping will create the resource at the backend. Okay, so that's all. So let me restart the same application. Okay, let me restart the same application here, and let me show you like how we can consume this API by using the client, how we can do the get all, delete student, and add students, these things here. Okay, okay, our application getting started on this port. Then let me open the client here. So this is my client, guys. So let's consume the first endpoint here. Let me use the existing one. So on which port our service will get added, yeah, or up. So we can see, so this is a get all student. So this is my first endpoint, first service. When I, so this is up now. Okay, when I execute this service, if you can see, when I execute this service, or sorry, endpoint, we will get the all student details. Okay, let me send it. See, we got these three details, three student details. Okay, so roll number, then name, address will be there inside this object. Now let me call the another service, so which will use to delete the, okay, which will use to delete the student. Now before that, let's call the add controller, sorry, add rest endpoints, add student rest point. So this is your add student. Let me go back to the and call this. So which method we use here? We use the post mapping. If you can go here, you will get the post mapping here. To add the student detail here, we require the post mapping here. So let me go back and let's copy the student object. So and pass this student object as a part of this request body. How to pass? Click on a body, click on a raw, select the JSON here and add it here. So I want to add the 104 here. Let's add the 3. Yeah, okay, so this is my this is another student we added. Okay, let me send that request. Let's see whether what we are getting added successfully, student getting added. Now let me check whether it is we are getting from this API or not. So get all API, it should get the here. So see, we will get the details of this fourth student. Okay, Now let me delete that fourth student here. So to delete the student, which method we use? So we use this delete method here. Which endpoint we use here? We use this delete student endpoint. Okay. Now let me replace this endpoint, and what we need to pass as a part of this request, we need to pass the roll number. Okay, so this roll number we need to pass. So what is the roll number we need to delete? So this is a 104. So let me hit the request, say delete successfully, and let me check whether it is whether that fourth student getting deleted or not. We should get the 3 now. See, we got the 3 records, so fourth one is deleted. Again let me repeat the same journey. I added the fourth student here, so record has been added. Then let me get all student details. See, I got the fourth record, and let me delete that fourth record. See how my APIs are working. So first API is used to get all student, second API is used to add the student, third API is used to get the delete the student. So that's how we can create the APIs by using the Spring Boot project. So these are the services. So here we created the services. So first service is used to get the all student list, delete the student, and add the student. And to consume those services we created one REST controller, and on this controller we created this REST endpoints, where where we added these 3 endpoint. Like first one is a get all student, delete student, and add student. So those endpoint getting consumed by the consumed by the client. So this is our client will consume this all endpoints. So that's all guys. So this is the way we can create the Spring Boot application, and we can create the REST endpoint. So there are other API like as well. We can check it, like put mapping will be there. Put mapping will use to update this records. Apart from that we have patch mapping. So there are a lot of there are few other methods as well, so you can check that how we can use those things as well. Okay, so that's all guys. Thank you for watching this session.